Gaining muscle is a slow process. While you'd think that being a more advanced exerciser would have its advantages, gaining muscle faster isn't one of them. It actually gets harder the longer we've been training. That's why it's key, no matter our fitness level, that we focus on the double progression technique to maximize our efficiency and see better muscle and strength gains faster. Before I go over what double progression is and how to use it in your routine, I want to shed some light on how quickly we can actually expect to see muscle gains, especially based on how long we've been training. And I will tell you, one of the biggest things holding many back from truly seeing their hard work pay off in the gym is the nutritional component, which I'll touch on at the end. But in terms of how fast you can see results, Lyle McDonald's research shows us that a more newbie lifter can gain up to 1 pound per month as a woman and up to 2 pounds as a male. With each year of training, that goes down. At even just 4 years of training experience, which many of us have been training for decades even, muscle gains are even just a few pounds per year. Yes, not per month, per year. Women can see 0.1 pound per month and men 0.25 pounds per month. And this is often when our training is even more optimized for results, which honestly, most of our training routines aren't. Not in a bad way, we just don't push the progression as much as we could because we're worn out from life. We include too much cardio, we miss days, we get bored and want to try something new over staying consistent. Heck, we even try to do too much to rush results. Or we simply don't really fuel to promote our hard work in the gym. But we're human, this is going to happen. That's why I think it's key we A, remember to be patient, but B, also take ourselves back to basics and refocus on quality and intentionality with those basic systems over just trying to work harder and do more. And that's why I want to remind you of this key training technique, double progression. So what is double progression and how can you use it? Have you ever in your workouts had a rep range of 6 to 12 reps and picked a weight, gotten 12 reps and just stayed there for all the sets? It felt hard enough? You could have pushed harder. Or have you ever done the bare minimum in reps with weights and then tried to go up in weights the next week only to find you can't keep going heavier week after week in your progression and are truly maxed out? This means you're wasting another way to progress. Trust me, I've been guilty of both of these at times, trying to push too hard with only changing loads or just going to the top end of the rep range and stopping there. I've even had times where I'm constantly changing weights and reps all at the same time. But this all holds us back even when we feel like we're working harder. It's also not a strategic, intentional build that allows us to truly push and optimize. And this is where double progression can help. Double progression helps you progress the same move in 2 different ways, by adjusting reps and by adjusting weight, but with one driving the other. This method regulates how you increase both volume, but also the intensity of your training. So how it works. It can be used with any rep range you have assigned. Let's say you're doing 6 to 12 reps. Once you hit that top of that rep range for a certain number of sets, usually about 1 to 3, you'll increase weight, generally not more than 5 to 10 pounds. You want this increase to force you back down towards the bottom of that rep range, so more like the 6 to 8 reps. You'll then keep this weight until you can again hit 12 reps for 1 to 3 rounds. At that time, you'll move back to increasing weight. With this double progression, you're first working to increase reps, which increases volume, before then progressing by increasing weight or increasing the intensity. This is that double progression. An example of this may be if you're doing goblet squats for 6 to 12 reps, and you decide if you can do 1 set of 12, you'll increase the weight. You have 3 working sets. You do 12 reps with your weight for your first round, so you go up. The next round, you can only do 8 reps with a heavier weight. So you stay there for the final round, performing another 8 reps. Next week, you start with the same weight, but you do 10 reps. You can stay there for all 3 rounds. The following week, you're able to do 12 reps, so you go up. This push to get out more reps with the weight before increasing the weight is what helps you optimally drive muscle growth, maintaining proper form while constantly pushing that progression. But there may be some times we misjudge weights, going too light or too heavy. There may be times that you find you go up in weight and you can again hit the top end of the rep range. Don't be afraid to go up again. There may also be times that you miss the bottom of the rep range when increasing weights. If this happens, you may find you drop down to a weight between what you had used and the weight you're now using. If you don't have a weight between, or you feel like you can maintain proper form with just a quick pause between a few reps, you may pause for 15 to 20 seconds to complete the rep range. Just then stay at this weight for longer to progress that volume. If you're doing 3 rounds and you find that you missed the rep range on the first round, you can then either use the short pause to keep the weight over the rounds, or even lower weights for the final rounds, knowing that the lighter weight will be harder simply because of going heavier to start. The key is to focus on increasing the number of reps you can do first with a weight before you then add weight over always just trying to go heavier. But part of what also pushes you with double progression is not just stopping at a rep number because it's the top one listed. This pushes you to truly test your limits, even working down in reps as you add weight. Don't be afraid to use this technique with any lift you include in your workout routine, where you really want to make sure you're maximizing your efforts, especially if you felt stuck in your progression. Now, the one very side note I want to mention with your nutrition to optimize your muscle gains: eat to fuel that growth. If you're putting in the work to build muscle in the gym, you need to make sure your diet is working with you, not against you. Too often I see clients, especially after a weight loss phase, not eating enough. Partly because they've trained their body to function in a deficit and the hunger cues even aren't there. Partly because, well, we're scared of gaining fat, which I totally get. But building muscle requires us to have adequate fuel to not only be able to train hard, but also to build more muscle, which requires more energy to be maintained. This doesn't mean go crazy with the surplus, but if you've been struggling to build, you need to assess whether your diet is truly in line with your goals. Be conscious that with building muscle, especially the more advanced you are, the more precise you sometimes need to be in optimizing your diet to complement. But if you want to build more strength and muscle, make sure you're using this double progression technique in your training while fueling those gains.